Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Best of British Blackwell. We're doing something very, very different today, but equally as interesting. We're going to be curing our own bacon using some pork belly, which I've got. The reason I'm doing this is I bought this as a gift. It's a home bacon curing kit. We'll go into what's inside here in a little bit more detail in a minute. But seeing as I've got the time on my hands because we're doing this kind of lockdown thing, seemed like a perfect opportunity to give this a go. This is going to take maybe up to a couple of weeks to make, so I'm going to condense this all down into one video. Hopefully you'll find it interesting. Let's have a look at the ingredients. Okay, so as we take the lid off of this box, you'll see that there's not a great deal of stuff in this box, but everything that you're going to need to cure some bacon at home seems to be in there. We've got some relatively straightforward instructions. We've got a butcher's hook, we've got some muslin, we've got 3 packs of different bacon cures here, we've got some Ziploc bags, and we've got some gloves. The Ziploc bags don't really look that big, and when you look at the piece of meat that I've got here, I'm just struggling to see how they will fit in there, but you never know. Let's have a look at the cures that we've got. So we've got a smoky cure, we've got an original cure, which I would imagine is just a salt mix, and then a sweet cure, which I would imagine has got some brown sugar in it. What we're going to do is move these to one side and have a look at the pork belly that we're going to be making this out of. So we're going to be making streaky bacon using this. So I've got a nice big piece here of pork belly, plenty of meat on it, nice fat content, and as you'll see, my butcher's left some of the baby back ribs on here as well. So I'm going to trim these off, do a little bit of butchery, get this nice and clean. What I'm also going to do is take the skin off of this as well. We don't want the skin on, that's too much rind. We're going to need some fat, but not too much skin. So let me trim this up, and then we'll come back when this has all been trimmed. Okay, so we have trimmed our pork belly up. We've taken the skin off. That wasn't easy, I can tell you. I hate doing jobs like that. A little bit fiddly. You need a very, very sharp knife. Now, there's a lot of people whose preference might be to actually leave the skin on to give it a nice thick rind around the outside. I'm not so keen on that. I quite like bacon to be fatty on the inside, but on the outside just not have too much rind on it. You'll also notice that I've taken those ribs off that were at the back there. What we're going to do now is portion this up, because we're going to be doing all 3 cures. So these are the size bags that they give you, and actually on reflection I think this is going to fit in quite nicely. The pieces of bacon are going to fit in those bags quite decent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into thirds. I'm just going to give it a very quick mark. I would say that's about 1/3 and 1/3. So cut this piece here, try and cut it as straight as possible, and then I'm going to cut this piece here. Now with pork belly, unless you're buying different pieces, then you'll notice that the fatness and texture of the meat will change as you go along the bacon. This is going to be a very thin piece of meat there, but still got decent fat content, and then as you get towards this piece here, it's going to be very meaty, and there's perhaps not so much fat content in there. So you're going to have different textures of bacon, but don't worry about that too much. Next thing we're going to do is rub these down individually with the cures, and I'll show you that bit. Okay, so this is the process for actually curing the meat. We take one of these packets, we take our piece of meat, and we're going to cover it in the cure mixture. Now I'm doing this in a bowl. The instructions actually says that you should do this inside the bag. Put the meat inside the bag, then put the cure inside the bag and give it a bit of a shake and move it around. The reason I'm not doing that is that these pieces of meat are actually quite big, so I don't think there's going to be enough room in the bag for it to maneuver around. Now the other reason that I'm also doing this in a bowl is that I can, with my hands, work this cure mixture into the meat, making sure that every single piece of it is covered. And then when we get it into the bag, which I'm just about to do now, I can take the contents out of the bowl, the remaining contents out of the bowl, and I can, if I can find the bag, here we go, and I can just make sure that anything left on the bottom of the bowl there ends up back in this bag. This could be the tricky bit, because this piece of meat is quite large. Oh, there we go, slid straight in there nicely. Okay, so all of our meats have been rubbed down in the different cure mixtures. This is the standard cure or a salt cure. This is the smoky cure, smelled really, really nice, and this is the sweet one. I can imagine that this one's going to be a bit of a maple bacon flavour. There's a little bit of a flaw in the way that I did this. So you saw me giving the meat a bit of a rub down in a bowl before putting it in the bag, and then placing the rest of the rub mixture into the bag. Now what that did is that compromised the seal on these Ziploc bags here. So I've got a bit of cure rub in there. So to be on the safe side, I'm going to be double bagging these because I don't want any air getting in there. Also, what I must say, the quality of the Ziploc bags that came with this product aren't great. That one's split there at the top. I'm still able to seal it, but what I'm going to do now is place these into another bag. Probably best to just fold that under and get that in there. I'm going to place these in, and so I know, I'm going to write on them. So that's a salt cure, and this one's the smoky. Now what we do with these is we place them in the refrigerator and we leave them in there for 2 days, and then we go back in, we turn them over, and then we leave them for another 2 days. So these get to cure in the fridge in this mixture for 2 days. After that, they continue to cure, but instead of being in the fridge, they go into these muslin cloths here, which I cut down into 3 different sections. Cut that into 3, put them in there, and I'm going to hang those in my fridge. I'll show you that part next. Okay, so it's 4 days later now in this bacon curing experiment, and in the meantime the weather has improved significantly. I've been out in the garden doing lots of gardening and a little bit of building work, and as you can see I've got a bright red face. Wonderful. This bacon experiment is going really well. For the past 4 days now, as per the instructions, this bacon has been in the fridge, and every day I've just been turning it over. So 4 days, 4 turns. Now comes the time where what we are supposed to do is take all of this bacon out of the bag, wash it down, and start to dry cure it in a fridge. Come over and let's have a look at that process. I'll show you how we go. Okay, so these have been completely washed down with cold water, nothing else. I made sure that my sink was crystal clean before I did it and run some nice fresh cold water into it. Now what we have to do is get these pork belly pieces or bacon pieces inside this muslin. Now what I tried to do with this, you will see it came in the box, you'll see it earlier in the video, it came as one single piece. What I've done is it advises that you use some string to tie the bottom ends of these up to make a bag out of them. What I've done is use cable ties, mainly because there wasn't quite enough of this muslin to kind of go round. So what I'm hoping is that I'm able to place this bacon inside this bag. Hopefully it stretches just enough. I think it might be a bit tight in terms of space, but I'm hoping that it stretches just enough so that I'm able to completely cover it and seal these pieces of bacon inside this muslin. That looks pretty decent. Let me crack on with this and I'll show you what we do next. We're supposed to hang this in a fridge. So this is the setup that I am using for our bacon. This is a little beer fridge, as you can see, that I have in my garage slash den, and it provides me the perfect opportunity to slip these pieces of bacon on this grill that's inside this fridge and hang them here. Okay, so we are about 11 days in to our bacon curing exercise now, and we're going to have a look at what they look like and what they taste like. Here they are. So this is how they ended up in their sacks. This is the salted, this is the smoked, and this should be the sweet. I did notice a little flaw in my plan with using cable ties with these. I've got to cut these open, and you should put these back inside the muslin bags if you're not going to use them all in one go, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put them back inside a Ziploc bag, which I think would be a little bit better. Let's cut one of these open and see what we've ended up with. This is the salted. Okay, squeeze up a little bit in there. There we go. And look at that. Certainly smells like bacon. Yeah, it smells pretty decent actually. Let's have a look at the other ones. Let's get all the other ones out. Okay, so first off, let's start with the salted. So I'm going to cut the end off here. Look at that. That's actually quite decent, you know, decent amount of fat, nice amount of meat in there. Let's cut some slices of this. Let's cut one. These are relatively thick slices. I don't think I'll be able to get them as thin as they do from shop bought. That looks really quite impressive actually. So there we go. 3 slices of each of these. The salted, the smoked, which looks and smells really good. I'm really looking forward to that one. And the sweet. The sweet I'm not so hopeful about. I mean, it's got a lovely bit of meat in there, but there's quite a lot of fat in there as well. The smell is just very similar to just a standard cured bacon, so I'm not sure where the sweetness is going to come from. Let's fry these up, bring them back over, and me and Betty are going to taste these because we love bacon. Now, I wasn't going to show you a video of this stuff sizzling in the pan, but what you tend to find with shop bought bacon is it's full of water. And the way that kind of reveals itself is when you're frying it in the pan, you'll get like white residue. Almost looks a bit like fat coming out of it. Well, look at this. These have had one turn. There's not a bit of that white residue that you normally see coming out into the pan, which means there's hardly any water content in here. And it smells delicious. I'm really impressed so far. But as we all know, it's all in the tasting. So let's continue to give these a cook and we'll see what they taste like. Okay, and there we have it. We've cooked these up, we've cooked them up and plated them up in the order that we cured them in. So the salted, the smoky, and then the sweet. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably all thinking, oh, I would have liked mine a bit more crispy than that. I would too. The reason I haven't overcooked these and crisped them up too much is I really want to be able to taste the flavour profiles in that meat. And I think that if you crisp them up too much, you lose a lot of that texture and that flavour. So I really want to give these a good taste. The next time I cook this stuff, I'll definitely be crisping this right up. Now, we need to taste it. And I need my chief bacon taster in this house, which is my daughter Betty. So let's go and get her. So what are we doing here, Betty?
I'm making bacon.
Lovely. Is it your favourite bacon?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You love bacon, don't you? Yeah.
I'm having a bacon sandwich.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's good.
Can I have a bacon sandwich now?
Yeah, you can. First, we've got to try this bacon. Daddy made it. Okay, so the first piece of bacon that we're going to taste is this salted bacon here. Salted. Betty likes the idea of the salted bacon.
I love to eat it.
You do?
Can I eat it now?
You can.
Can I hold the knife?
That is very good. Oh, Betty got in for another one. What do you think? Is it yummy? Wait a minute. Tell the camera what you think.
Yum.
Yummy. That's the salted. That is very good. Very moist. Decent flavour. Decent texture as well. A little bit chewy. Quite like that. It certainly doesn't fall apart.
That too.
You're not to touch while I've got the knife. Let's try this. This is the smoked bacon. Smoked bacon.
I really.
Even better. I'll try the fork. Betty absolutely adores bacon. This is really good. Not that one. That one's too big. That one's too... No, don't. Cheeky girl. Okay, let's try this sweet one now. I think it's fair to say that this has been a roaring success.
Yummy.
This is the sweet. What I would say about the smoky is the smoky is very sweet as well. It's got a lovely sweetness to it.
That was good too.
Yeah, you need to finish that mouthful before we do the next one. Yeah? Yeah, really good flavour profiles, lovely. But the cure doesn't overpower the meat in the smoky. So very often I buy some smoked bacon and all you can taste is that acrid smoke and you don't actually get any of the meat. Try this piece. This is the sweet.
Crunchy.
Mmm. Now the sweet one's very surprising because while it was curing, you couldn't get any of the sweetness. You can get any aroma of sweetness. Because it's brown sugar, you can normally get a bit of an aroma from it.
Yeah.
I think Betty likes that one.
Yeah.
You couldn't get an aroma from it. And even when it came out of the muslin bag, you couldn't get an aroma from it, but you can really taste the sweetness in that. So the sugars have penetrated the meat. All in all, I think this has been a real success. There's not much I would change in the process. I was a little bit skeptical when I got that box about you know, the process and how good this would taste. I'm convinced I'll definitely be doing this again. Betty, can you thank everybody for watching? Say thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
See you again soon.
See you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.